Welcome back, everybody. Today we're on episode 2, The Warrior's Heart, Finding Inner Strength with Art Therapy with MindSoul Meditation. I'm Chiroa, your host, and we're going to dive right in. We're going to enjoy a presentation of artwork from artists who submitted to the Warrior's Heart open call, who shared their interpretations on finding inner strength. So let's talk about what the warrior heart is. So this chapter is really about exploring our inner strength, about the calm, grounded strength that resides within us. The kind of strength that doesn't come from force, but it comes from resilience, from presence, and from self-compassion. A warrior's heart symbolizes quiet, unwavering strength, not aggression, not intensity, but a calm endurance that supports us through the storms. The warrior spirit is a force that holds you steady under pressure and continues forward even through uncertainty. It helps you face challenges with grace and protects what matters most to you. It honors your vulnerability as part of your courage. So a warrior's strength is not loud. It's more steady, grounded, and deeply rooted. If you're into chakras, we would call this the root chakra. So let's talk about inner strength versus external strength. So your inner strength is your emotional resilience versus an external strength being physical force. It would also be persevering through adversity as opposed to just winning battles, or integrity and endurance as opposed to being concerned about just what our appearances are and how it looks to the rest of the world. It's about making sure you're doing what's right. So let's talk about how you can actually understand your own strength. For example, your strength through vulnerability. This may sound a little bit like an oxymoron, like how can strength and vulnerability be on the same equivalent level? How are they not opposites to one another? But they aren't. Being able to be vulnerable is in fact a strength. And it speaks loudly towards being truthful, being honest, being open. It helps build your ability to be resilient. It is not a weakness to show your emotions and to express your fears or to identify your limits. These are things that are going to help empower and strengthen you. They build a sense of self-awareness. Understanding your vulnerability gives you clarity. You're more human, so you identify your humanness. You can create greater connection by sharing those vulnerabilities with others. So the warrior's heart recognizes, for example, that this hurts, but I can survive it. I'm afraid, but I will try anyway. Or I'm learning, I'm not failing. I think that's a big one. I hear, especially from my children who are young adults, a lot of fear of failing. And failing is just a lesson. And if you can look at it as, okay, I didn't get it right this time, I didn't do it right this time, but what can I take away from it? What did I do wrong? Then you're learning. And so you can embrace the failure with grace and keep on moving forward. And that is the warrior's heart. So your humanity is truly your source of power. And I think that that's something that's really important, especially in this day, is to remember that our humanity is that source of light, is that source of power, is a source of hope. So resilience, which is part of strength, is your ability to bend without breaking. Think of it like bamboo or water, like a tree rooted in deep soil, and being able to take on the storm and not break. Every challenge that you faced has shaped your resilience, and every setback has strengthened your core. So a warrior holds close what they value: love, growth, purpose, healing, creativity. So your dedication to these values is a form of inner armor. So let's talk about some practices on how we can nurture our inner strength, in particular how this applies to art therapy. So let's start with embracing vulnerability. So a warrior honors truth. You recognize your own emotions without judgment. So how can you put that into practice? Name your feelings. Put those feelings into your artwork. If today you're feeling angry, make an angry artwork. If today you're feeling disappointed or sad, that's what you want to put into your artwork. Allow yourself to be vulnerable and expressive in the things that you create. Practice mindfulness. So sit quietly for 2 to 5 minutes. So maybe before you sit down to create your art, you're going to spend a couple of minutes. You're going to be mindful of your breath. Just take a few minutes to ground yourself, to really come into yourself, to acknowledge what it is that you're experiencing. Go forward prepared to deal with the next step. The warrior strength also has to do with not being afraid to ask for help. If you're experiencing something that feels like it's too much, the burden is too strong, you need someone to talk to, you need someone to carry the load, reach out, find your community and work with your community and get help. This doesn't necessarily mean seeking out professionals, but perhaps that's what you need. But sometimes what we need is just to find like minded people who help boost us up, who help elevate us, who care about elevating us in our successes and helping us achieve our best selves. So find a community that you feel good to be a part of, and it will do a lot to foster your self awareness, your resilience, boost your self esteem, and absolutely will foster your hope. So, another way to foster that strength, that warrior strength, is with resilience. And you can do that by choosing to do one thing today that stretches outside your comfort zone. Is that doing a social post to promote yourself as an artist? Or maybe it's embracing an art style that you've always loved but you're too afraid to try? Maybe today's that day. Have you always been curious about photography but always felt like, maybe I'm not good enough? Grab your phone, go take a picture of something, experiment, step outside your comfort zone. Don't be shy to use the warrior as a symbol within your artwork. So if you want to present yourself as a warrior and encompass those qualities of the warrior within the artwork, the symbolisms of it, and it doesn't have to be an actual warrior. Perhaps it's trees, mountains, stones, shields, lions, whatever you can imagine. I want you to go through today, and when you're creating your art, you're going to focus on these types of symbolisms and the type of qualities that you really admire and want to see represented as the warrior's strength. With that, let's dive in to our meditation. So for today's meditation, we're going to look at the warrior's heart and finding inner strength. So to begin, I'd like you to get comfortable, sit back, relax, and I'm going to ask that you close your eyes and take a slow breath in. And exhale softly. I want you to feel your body grow steady. Feel the earth, or perhaps it's a chair, beneath you, holding you strong. And I want you to repeat after me. I awaken the warrior within me. I embrace my inner strength. I feel life's challenges with grace and resolve. I honor my resilience, and I protect what I hold dear. Let these words settle. Let them root inside of you. And I want you to imagine that you're a great tree, one of the oldest, most ancient trees, the largest of the trees. And your roots, they sink deep into the earth. They're just driving down right to the core of the earth. Your roots draw energy from that core, and you feel that energy and strength coming up through those roots. Your entire body feels empowered. The wind blows strong, but you do not fall. You sway, you bend, but your trunk is firm. Your roots are steady. This is your inner strength. Now I want you to picture another image in your mind. I want you to visualize hands, your hands, holding something precious, something gentle yet firm. I want you to protect what matters most to you. Your dreams, your loved ones, your sense of self. Only you know what you hold in these hands, but protect it. Breathe into this strength. Feel it in your chest. Feel it in your arms, in your voice, in your heart. And say to yourself, my strength is calm. My strength is steady. I endure. I protect. I rise. Stay with this glow of strength for a few breaths. Feel the quiet power within you, the warrior's heart. When you're ready, return to your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Carry this inner strength with you today. It's always here, and it's always yours. Today's featured artist is Alexander Nathan, a multidisciplinary visual artist whose work explores what he calls the emotional architecture of the human experience. Alexander's art invites us to look inward, to notice how we sense, protect, and connect within ourselves and with others. Through his abstract paintings, emotional diagrams, and immersive frameworks, he gives shape to feelings that are often hard to express, turning emotion into something we can see and understand.
Hi, I'm Alexander Nathan. I'm a multidisciplinary artist exploring the emotional architecture of human experience, how we process, regulate, and reconnect with ourselves, especially during periods of overwhelm, disconnection, or healing. My creative work bridges two disciplines: traditional visual art, layered paintings, intuitive sketches, and mixed media, and something I call technical art, or emotional navigation tools. The intersection of creativity and mental wellness resonates with me because, for most of my life, creativity has been the way I've found my inner strength. Not the kind of strength that pushes through or performs resilience, but the quiet, steady kind. The strength that comes from facing what's uncomfortable. The kind that says, I don't fully understand this yet, but I'm willing to sit with it. In my most overwhelmed states, when I didn't feel safe in my own body, when my nervous system was scattered, I didn't turn to language. I turned inward, and I drew. I painted. I designed something that mirrored what I was experiencing, so I could start to make sense of it. That act of creating something from emotional truth is what I now see as a kind of inner resilience, a way of reclaiming presence, of saying, I'm still here. Searching for healing while maintaining hope and belief, I became my support system and am building more and more inner strength each day. Art, for me, has always been an emotional compass. When I'm in a regulated state, I paint more fluidly, guided by feeling, not outcome. But when I'm dysregulated, anxious, fragmented, emotionally distant, I shift into structure. That's when I begin designing tools, diagrams, visual systems, and self-regulation maps. My background is in engineering, aerospace, mechanical, electrical, and controls. For years, I worked on problems that had defined answers, predictable patterns. When I began integrating that analytical mind with my emotional body, everything changed. The same logic I used to build machines started mapping emotional movement. The same skills I used to problem solve technically became the tools I used to build inner safety. Now I see it more clearly. My art is the result of those two worlds colliding and finally learning how to coexist. This blending of the rational and the intuitive, the technical and the tender, has become my language. And I've learned that this language speaks to people who are seeking not just to understand themselves, but to feel themselves more fully. I often say that art is the place where I give myself permission to feel without judgment, where I don't have to be fully understood to be fully present. Emotional healing isn't linear. It's messy and beautiful and confusing and real. And art allows us to track that process without having to explain it. If you're an artist or a creative person listening to this, I want to say your expression matters. Let your art be a conversation, not just with others, but with yourself. Thank you for listening and for holding space for this kind of work. Being part of this series is deeply meaningful to me, not because of recognition, but because it honors what I believe in most, that art can be a bridge between thought and feeling, between isolation and connection, between the inner world and the shared one. Take care of yourself and keep creating.
So today we're going to take a look at the second activity. So we're going to go into Warrior's Heart. Now, one of the nice things about Wide Worlds is that you can actually prompt a little bit differently, and you can actually do more storytelling type prompting. So I'm going to do an experiment with that today. So what I did was I used AI with all of my feelings and my ideas and let it generate a more story style prompt. So I'm going to use that today. So this is called The Keeper of Tomorrow. So I have in a temple of living trees where roots weave through ancient stone, a guardian kneels with hands pressed to the earth, channeling streams of light that flow like veins through the ground. Above, the canopy opens to reveal a sky where stars arrange themselves into constellations of hope. Wolves, made of moonlight, gather as witnesses. Moss and flowers bloom instantaneously where the light touches. Now, I don't expect my prompt is going to capture everything that I have in here, but we're going to see what we get. So because of the style of prompt that I'm using, some of these may not be perfect for me, but I can try a couple of them out. So I'm going to try deconstructed pop art. And again, you'll remember that it keeps the prompt there so you can flip to a different one. I'm going to go with grunge. I'm going to try the dark illustration. Let's see what else we can also try. Messy in blue. And the last one, vintage fall tones. And we'll see what we get. So my prompts have come back and I can check these out and look at them a little bit in greater detail. See if any of them resonate with me. I kind of like the grunge one here. I like this one a lot, the messy in blue. So I think I probably would go with this one here. So you can experiment with different types of prompts and different types of styles. The prompting here is going to be quite a bit different than what you would use in Midjourney, but use whatever technique that you're used to. So I went ahead and tried another one, again using more of a story writing sort of technique, just describing the scene I wanted. So I did create a scene with a strong figure representing hope. The person has the appearance of a warrior. I want to depict empowerment and victory. And using the vintage fall tones, I got a nice image there. I can try one, maybe this one I'll go with Harlem Resistance. And maybe I'll do one more with my Latin painting. And we'll try out the digital painting as well. Now I didn't put any information about my camera angles. I just went with a straight up prompt. But if you want more control, you want to make sure that you add in, if it's a full figure of a person, the distance that you want for your camera. For example, I could add here at the end, long shot, and that's excellent. In fact, I really like this one here too. So I hope you enjoyed this set of styles for the Warrior's Heart, finding inner strength, and that you're able to generate images that truly resonate with you and how you're feeling and where you're at in your emotional journey. Remember that you can always go back through my world. If click on my name at the top right. You can get into additional resources that we have here. For example, you can go into the Create Anything, and from Create Anything, you can use the same prompt, but there's a much broader list of styles available, so you can explore some additional styles that aren't in this particular episode. So remember that on Friday, we'll be holding a live space where you can join, share, talk about your art, and we'll dive into this topic a little bit more. See you then. Thanks for watching, and I hope you really enjoyed this episode. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe and the notification bell so you're kept up to date with new releases. If you'd like to support art therapy and keep this content free, I'd greatly appreciate it. You can do that by joining me on Patreon, which will be linked in the comments below. Patreon members get access to additional resources, guides, ebooks, prompts, and even the opportunity to work with me one-on-one. Don't forget, we'll also have a free live session on Hey Peers every Friday. I'll put the link for that below as well, and you can join us there to talk about AI prompting or your traditional art, share your art, talk about how this journey is for you, and share your experience of healing through art. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.